Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl LK here, and today I wanted to talk about a book that I had just finished reading yesterday, and that is Dear Martin by Nick Stone. It was requested for me to start doing reading vlogs and some reading updates and stuff of that nature. And while I won't do it for every single book that I read, I thought because it is Black History Month, I would try and do it for at least a couple of the books that I read this month, or at least the majority. So before I go on to another book, I wanted to just quickly give my thoughts on Dear Martin. So if you would like to hear my thoughts about it and just kind of have like a little bit of a discussion about it, especially in the comments down below, please keep watching. I don't even know if you guys can see the book because I am holding it currently, but yeah, so let's get started. I'm gonna give you guys a quick, completely spoiler-free summary about the book. So I'm not going to be able to go too in depth with my reviews and my thoughts on it, just because like I want it to be spoiler free. I want people to be able to go in and read the book in its entirety and completely form your own opinions on it. However, if it is something where you would want me to do like another review on it that is not spoiler free and like really go in depth about the book itself, I'm happy to do so. You guys just have to let me know. But anyways, jumping into it, the book follows our main character, Justice, who is a really good kid. Like, he's a stand-up, solid citizen. He got into this prestigious private high school. His grades are amazing. He follows the rules. He is aspiring to go to Yale. He's a really good kid. Like, he's just one of those, like, I don't want to say like perfect kids, but like he's really good. And he is someone who knows about the injustice facing Black people in America, being that he is Black, but because of the type of person that he is, and because he is always following the rules, always just striving to try his absolute best in everything that he does, and because of how good he is, he feels that the injustice isn't, I don't want to say that's not his problem, but that it's never going to affect him. So he's kind of othered himself in that sense. He just feels like it's a Black problem, but not his Black problem. Until there's one night where he finds himself on the receiving end of police brutality and handcuffs at the mercy of a cop who won't hear him out for something that he didn't do. So he was completely innocent, and he still found himself on the wrong end of the law. So after that night takes place, his world is completely thrown into chaos, and it's just one event after the other that's just spiraling out of control. And to kind of deal with this, he starts writing letters to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and studying his works to try and make sense of the world that is spiraling out of control around him, trying to make sense of the society that is blatantly unfair, and realizing that justice for all people is not necessarily justice for Black people. And he's trying to figure out how he can deal with that on a personal level, because it's something that he didn't think that he was going to have to deal with. So that's a very basic general summary of the book. Now I'm going to go into a little bit of my thoughts about it, and I'm going to start off by first saying, full disclaimer, this is not to villainize or demonize anybody who is not Black. That is not the goal of the book, and it's not the goal of this video, and it's not, that's my Great Dane, that is not what I'm thinking at all. I want to say that I thoroughly enjoyed this book. It touches a lot of, I'm looking at my laptop just in case anybody is wondering why I'm looking down, because I have these notes written down. But anyways, the book touches a lot of really tough subjects in a very short period of time, and I appreciate that, because I personally do not like reading books that are 600 and 700 pages and just drag on. That is like, it's not enjoyable for me. So because this book was very fast paced and brisk and just an easy binge read, was great for me. One of the aspects I found really interesting in this book was something I touched upon a little bit in the summary, but was the idea of Black people othering themselves from other Black people. And and again, we see the example of Justice thinking that because he's a specific type of Black person, that injustice to Black people don't affect him, because he's not your typical or quintessential thuggish Black man. So I kind of liked how we got to see the progression from that, and him realize that actually, you know what, it's Black people as a whole that are gonna face this, and it's something that we face together. So I appreciated the look on that, because I don't necessarily think that that's something that we get to see a lot in YA books. So I appreciated Nick Stone's example of that. Something else that I liked about the book was seeing how racism affects both sides, because obviously you hear about how racism affects the people who are experiencing it, but in this book, and it wasn't a glaring point of the book, but we got to see what happens when racism turns into a cycle of the people who are experiencing it retaliate, and then it turns violent, and then both sides are suffering. So I liked being able to see that aspect in the book. I'm going down my list here. Something else that I really liked about the book was that it underlines, so obviously there are some characters in the book that were blatantly racist, and you could just clock that, like, and it was nothing. Oh, she's being crazy upstairs. And you could just clock that, like it was easy to see. But there were some characters in the book who were blatantly racist without realizing that they were being racist, or did not think that they were coming across as racist, because, and this is something that happens a lot in today's society, because you'll hear people cover it up with, oh, well, I'm just saying what's on my mind, this is my opinion, is a really good one that I hear a lot. Or I'm kidding, it's a joke, it's funny, right? Or I'm talking about Black people, but not you, like the other Black, not you, it's the othering again. But when another racial group will other themselves or you personally from said group, and that's something that I heard a lot. I can empathize a lot with Justice, because I did go, I went to a private high school where I was one of the few Black people there, and so I empathized a lot with this character, and it is something that you see a lot. I think the two, I don't want to say excuses, but the two most common sense of reasoning that I've heard was, well, this is my personal opinion, or it's a joke, or I don't mean you. So I guess the three that I heard the most. But anyways, that was something that you got to see a lot in this book, and the character development in the book was great. It really was touching to read about the character development, and I appreciated actually having character development in this book, because there are some YA books where you don't see any development in the characters at all, and you're just kind of reading about this stagnant person who's not progressing. And I think that this book did a really, really good job of progressing with all the characters that you were reading about. I also liked that it was a reminder, and I don't want this to be taken the wrong way, but it was a reminder for not just Black people, but people of any minority, to watch who you surround yourself with, and watch what your friends classify as a joke or as an opinion. Because just because someone grew up with you doesn't mean they're your friend. And I think that that's just a small tidbit of information that everybody should have with them at all times, regardless of your race or your minority status. That's just something that should be in the back of your mind, because not everybody who you think would want you to succeed actually wants you to succeed. So that's just something that you should keep in mind. Overall, I gave the book 5 stars. As I said a little bit earlier on, I thought that the character development was great. I love the main character. I'm able to empathize with the main character. The pace of the book was excellent. I was never bored while reading it, which was so nice, because I do get bored reading if the book starts to slow down. The length of the book was great. I believe it's not even 300 pages. It's 208 pages. It's fabulous. I love the length of this book. And the plot throughout, I think Nick Stone did such a wonderful job developing this plot. Like, she really did knock it out of the park. I'm very, very happy with it. I looked at some of the lower star reviews for this book, like some of the 1 and 2 star reviews for the book, and a lot of people were saying exactly what I liked about it, they didn't like about it, which was the fact that so much happened in a short period of time. Obviously, everybody is more than entitled to their opinions on no matter what they read. Of course, you're entitled to your opinion. my advice for that would be to remember that this is a book that is geared towards YA. It is geared toward young adult teenage age group, and remember that that is an age group with a very limited attention span, because I know that when I was a teenager, I'm about to age myself, but when I was a teenager, I did not want to read a book that was 700 pages. I didn't care how important the issue was. I didn't want to read it. So the fact that this book is so short and touches on so many issues and has such great character development and such a great message, all wrapped up into a very, very tiny book, I think it's amazing, and I applaud Nick Stone for that, because I know that that could not have been easy. So I think that what people are faulting this book for was actually really, really well done. But again, that's just my opinion. And that pretty much wraps up my thoughts and general review of the book. I would love to know your guys' thoughts on how you felt the book was, if you've read it, if you're going to read it, what are some things that you're looking forward to in the book, what other books have you guys been reading for Black History Month. Let's talk about it down in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!